All right, let's look today at some rules scenarios. Let's go. Greetings and welcome back to Basketball Rules Expert, the YouTube show where we take National Federation of High School basketball rules and we lift them off the printed page, breathe life into them, simplify, clarify, amplify, so that we can take the rules with us onto the basketball court. Greetings again, everybody. My name is Greg Austin with abetterofficial.com. I've been a high school basketball official for quite a while. I consider myself knowledgeable about the rules of basketball, and this show is an effort to help you on a journey to becoming a basketball rules expert as well. Let me give a shout out to our fantastic show supporters: Thomas Burnside, Jay Brown, Mark Harvey, Darwin Sanada, and Roger Mulley. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show, you can always buy us a coffee. There's a link down in the show notes below. Tremendous. All right, today we are looking at basketball rules scenarios so that we can help adjudicate plays when they occur in our game. All right, let's take a look at our very first rules question. On a designated spot throw-in, the thrower may jump, pivot, or shuffle their feet as long as a foot is kept on or above the 3-foot area. The thrower must keep 1 foot on or above the spot until the ball is released. A, correct. B, incorrect. Now there's a simple question to get us started, right? Designated spot throw-in. First of all, we need to know the status. Is it a designated spot, not a designated spot? During a designated spot throw-in, of which there are many in the normal high school basketball game, what are the restrictions on the thrower, right? We need to know all of the restrictions so that we can identify something that is illegal. There's many misconceptions about what is illegal and legal for a thrower, but the fundamental in terms of their placement on the court for a thrower is they must keep one of their feet above the designated spot. Okay, great. Designated spot is actually not a spot. It's an area. It's a rectangle, right? The edge of the court, 3 feet wide, back as far as it can go. The player must simply keep 1 foot above that area. They could do, the river dance, right? And do all sorts of footwork. They could bounce the ball many times. They could throw the ball up in the air. They can do a soccer style throw-in. They could do many, many things. And that's one of the things about throw-ins that we always have to be aware of, is that we're going to see a lot of different things. What we're saying is, okay, I'm waiting for illegal. That's legal. That's not illegal. Not illegal. Not illegal, right? So a simple question here to get us started. Our correct answer here is A. That is a correct statement. It's actually the same statement made twice. Oh, awesome. That was a simple question. We like simple. All right. Let's take a look at another rules question. A non-contact foul which consists of unfair, unethical, or dishonorable contact is an intentional foul, an unsporting foul, a common foul, or none of the above. This is a non-contact foul. That's a clue, right? If it's a non-contact foul, we've immediately eliminated common foul and intentional foul, because those, although we can have an intentional technical foul, but common and intentional are out of the picture. Our correct answer here, pretty simple, B, a non-contact foul which consists of unfair, unethical, or dishonorable conduct is an unsporting foul by rule. Really straightforward, not a complicated question. We like those simple questions. Have players confused about whether we're shooting 2 or shooting 1. Hopefully we've been very declarative in announcing, right? And so for our young officials, first year officials as well, put your voice in the game. Allow no opportunity confusion. Everybody knows we are shooting 2, right? 1 and 1, right? Everybody knows. We don't want to be subtle. We don't want to be discreet because that opens up the window for misunderstanding. If you have a game, so again, let's go back. We're first year official. First game is coming up. If you have a game where there's no confusion about what the ruling is or what happens next, you are way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. Prevention of confusion about what we're doing or what happens next. A lot of times, a new official is going to either administer things in a fashion or run away from the foul or not give great signals, and people are left confused about what's going to happen next. Sometimes it's your partner. Where's the throw in? You didn't designate the spot. Is it sideline? Is it end line? Right? If we can, have a game where we officiated the game and at no point did I introduce confusion into the game, everything was really clear. Ooh, that is a goal. That is a goal. And if you can accomplish that, again, I got this block charge play wrong. I think this, that, the other. I ruled a violation here just because it looked funny. These are the things that you're going to improve over time. But if you can administer a game without confusion and keep the game moving, coaches coaching, players playing, consistency, man, that is a wild, wild success for a first-year official. Make that a goal. All right, let's take a look at another rules question. A1 dunks over B1 and then taunts B1. B1 retaliates and throws a punch at A1. The ruling is A, a warning, a stern warning should be issued. B, A1 is issued an unsporting technical and B1 is issued a flagrant technical. C, both players are issued unsporting technical fouls. Or D, both are charged with flagrant technicals. What is the correct ruling on the play? So A1 throws down a dunk over B1 and then taunts, right? This is actually a you watch AAU game highlight videos. It's like this is sort of almost an implied reaction that players are supposed to have. After you throw down a dunk, you're supposed to look at your opponent and let them know who you are. And it's almost encouraged in that environment. It's, obviously puts a lot of pressure on us at the high school level when these games occur. And that's built into the game a little bit. And it's always going to be a subtle element. But in this case, the player taunts, right? Just like stare down or pointing, finger pointing, or whatever. The other player doesn't like that. Boom, right? Punches them. Things break up. You could say, well, the player who dunked and taunted, well, they didn't fight. But if by rule, this just in, Oliver's handed me a note. Excellent. He had double flagrant on this. So in this instance, National Federation of High School Basketball rules, if a technical foul, a taunting foul, or a technical foul leads to a reaction that is fighting, then both actions are considered fighting by rule. So, in this instance, our correct answer is D. Both are charged with flagrant technical fouls by rule. So if we have a double flagrant foul, the penalty for a double foul, double technical, double common foul, double flagrant foul, double intentional foul, the result is resume play at the point of interruption. So in this instance, after the made basket, the opponent would have the ball for a non-designated spot throw-in after we'd taken care of disqualifying those players. But let's now move to our next rules question. A1 drives to the basket, releases the ball for a try, and then contacts B1. The ball goes in. Double whistle between lead and center. Lead signals block. Center signals charge. It's a Blarge scenario. Our correct procedure is A, both officials report their foul. Basket is counted. Then play resumes. B, lead and center get together to decide whose primary call it is, and that official reports only their foul. Or C, both officials report their foul. Basket is not counted. The dreaded Blarge scenario, right? It's a great scenario to explore here, so that when it occurs, and it may occur in your game at the high school level, things happen. We just want to be prepared. And if we do, we need to know, okay, we have this situation on the court. What do we do next, right? What do we do in a Blarge scenario? Critical to this equation is recognizing what has occurred here. We got a player who goes to the basket, releases a try, boom, crash in the lane. One official is coming up with their correct player control signal, and we know all the things about a player control, and the other official's like, boom, no, block, 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 right? So what do we have? So it's easy for us to say, well, we know some things about the play because we know that on a player control foul, the ball becomes dead, so we can't score the goal. Oh, great. But do we have a player control scenario in this situation? What do we have here by rule? By rule, we have a double foul. And we just talked about double fouls: double common foul, double intentional foul, double flagrant foul, double technical foul. How do we resume? We resume at the point of interruption. Great. What's our point of interruption? The ball went in the basket. Do we score the goal? Again, we need to know what causes the ball to become dead. The try was released. When the double foul occurs, does the ball become dead, right? If we had a situation where A1 releases a three-point try for goal, two players under the basket engaged in mortal combat, and a double foul is ruled off ball while the ball is in flight, does the ball become dead? Knowing when the ball becomes dead is a critical component to officiating high school basketball and doing well. Knowing your status, a mastery gives you such an advantage in adjudicating plays like this. So we have a double foul. Does the ball become dead by rule? No. No, it does not. Since the ball was not dead, do we score the goal? Yes. Yes, we do. So if we take a look at our rules possibilities here, our correct answer is A. Both officials report their foul, basket is scored, and play resumes with an end-line throw-in by the opponent of the team whose goal was scored. Now, what do we expect to have happen in this situation? Misunderstanding, chaos, confusion, right? So if we have this in a situation in our game, we're going to have to get together and know how to adjudicate it properly. We recognize, oh, this is the most embarrassing thing a crew could possibly do, the dreaded Blarge. Oh, right? Nobody died. It's not the end of the world. We had a situation, we had a lack of discipline, two officials, that's going to happen. It happens at all levels. D1, NBA, WNBA, big FIBA, it happens. And the rules are in place to help us get out of the situation. So in this situation with a Blarge, we're going to have to, both officials are going to report. We're going to move on. If we need to make any explanations, we're going to do that, but we want to get the game moving. Again, if we can keep players playing and coaches coaching. But it would be obvious for the stakeholders in the game to be very confused in this situation. So we're going to have to do some extra splaining to do. It's always good to have an understanding of the Blarge scenario, because when it happens in our game, first of all, we can easily think, oh, this is like the worst case scenario. It's really not. It's just like we allowed the game to continue with 6 players on the court. We made an error in announcing free throws, right? We said 2, it should have been 1. The ball, players were confused. We get into these situations. They will happen in our game. We want to prevent them by being, but they will happen in our game. And we just need to know how to extricate ourselves from the situation and move on. But understanding the Blarge adjudication for National Federation of High School Basketball rules really gives us, I know, so if this unusual situation occurs into my game, I'm going to be able to handle it correctly by rule and confidently by rule, right? If we were unsure in this situation about what to do next, and we do something, we say, okay, there's no goal, and we're unsure, right? We're going to carry that uncertainty potentially to the next play and the next play and the next play. It may take us a while to get back together. If we understand the adjudication properly by rule, okay, it is what it is. It is embarrassing. We wish we didn't do it, etc. But here's how we're going to resume. We're going to do this, 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 and this, and the game goes on, and we can have the confidence, well, it occurred, but we adjudicated properly. And now we're moving on, coach. We're moving on. All right, let's take a look at our next rules question. A1 has the ball and is about to attempt the first free throw of a 1-on-1 bonus. B1 steps into the lane prior to the release of the attempt. Although the action is unintentional, the distraction causes A1's attempt to miss the ring. How would we administer this play? A, since the act was unintentional, both violations are penalized. Go to the AP arrow to determine which team is entitled to the AP throw-in. B, an air ball takes precedence over a lane violation. Team B gets an end-line throw-in. C, call an unsporting technical on B1 for disconcerting the shooter. Or D, since the distraction caused the shooter to shoot an air ball, ignore the violation by A1 and only penalize the delayed violation by B2. Again, unlikely, unusual scenario, a player unintentionally violates, right? We see the player, they lose their balance, they start waving their arms, they step into the lane. They were trying to do the right thing, right? But this waving of the arms distracts the thrower. The thrower shoots an air ball. This is a violation by rule. So under normal circumstances, if we don't have distraction or disconcertion, this would be a simultaneous or double violation, and the free throw would end. But in this situation, we have an opponent of the thrower violating, causing distraction, which results in this instance in our correct answer being D. Get out the way, ref. The distraction caused the violation by the thrower, so we ignore the thrower's violation and only penalize with a delayed violation by B1. Okay, understanding free throw violations, we'll put a link above to our entire series on free throw violations so that we can be, and of course the challenge with free throw situations is we are at risk as officials of disconnecting from the game a little bit, right? There's multiple free throws, bounce the ball to the thrower, we're thinking about other things, maybe we're checking the clock, we're looking at team fouls, or we're just taking a little me time where we say, where am I? Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at another rules question. A1 rebounds the ball and holds it securely under the chin while being aggressively guarded by B1. Without contacting B1, A1 pivots and swings his or her elbows such that the elbows move faster than the speed of the torso. What is the correct ruling? A. Intentional foul on A1. B. Flagrant foul on A1. C. No violation. Or D. Violation on A1. I officially like that limited selection. So we have A1 grabbing a rebound, and as they are instructed to by the coach, let's see, as they are instructed to do, they extend their elbows to protect the basketball, and then they do the swing the arms, separated from their torso, right? As opposed to pivoting, they swing the arms separate from the torso in such a fashion, but there's no contact. Without contacting A1. In the absence of contact, can we have an intentional foul or a flagrant foul? No. No, we cannot. So, in this instance, we have a simple swinging the elbows violation by A1. Boom. And again, when we're talking about what we want to accomplish on our game, keeping it safe and fair, this is a behavior that is not, that potentially leads to injury, right? So the NFHS says, no, we don't want to allow this in the game. Excessively swinging the elbows, right? Sometimes it can be, a great deal of force can be produced by a swung elbow. And of course, the elbow itself can produce great damage as well. So this behavior, we want to officiate this out of the game. But our language on this question makes it kind of makes it obvious. Holds its without contacting, pivots and swings his or her elbows such that the elbows move faster than the speed of the torso. It's probably taken pretty much verbatim from the rule. So that's our rules question there. Let's take a look at another rules question. A1's three-point goal is successful. B2, who is inbounds, secures the ball after it passes through the basket and tosses to teammate B3, who is also inbounds. B3, believing that their teammate has made a legal throw-in to him, begins dribbling up the court towards his team's basket. The correct action here is to, so many words, more words. Whistle the play dead and rule a throw-in violation. That's a short answer, right? So this is not the most unusual of situations. We've got a scored goal, one player, there's confusion between the player who's going to handle the throw-in. One player tosses the ball to the other, and that player thinks, you've made the throw-in pass. They're distracted maybe, and they start dribbling up the court. What is the correct adjudication in this case? By rule. Right? Now, if we're handling this in maybe at lower levels, or we have a situation, we may want to stop play and say, no, take the ball out, administer the throw-in. But by rule, in this instance, it's important to understand that by rule, in this instance, this is a violation. This is considered to be a throw-in violation. We'd want to put a whistle on the play and go from there, right? So it's a situation we almost feel like we can prevent, and potentially we could if we anticipated a little bit. But the correct administration by rule is this is a throw-in violation. All right, let's take a look now at another rules question. An official calls held ball, possession arrow points to team A. The official inadvertently gives the ball to B1 for the throw-in. The official cannot correct this once the official starts the throw-in count. B, B1 releases the ball for a throw-in. C, The official gives the ball to B1 or D. B2 touches the throw-in pass. All right, no, I'm going there. Right? So a simple scenario, and again, this is one where we have, as officials, have made a mistake, right? And there's rules, remedy for how to handle the mistake. Specifically, by rule, the official's opportunity to correct this situation ends when the throw-in ends. Great. Perfect. So the answer is, so when does the throw-in end, right? When does the throw-in begin? This is one of the 3 restarts in the game of basketball: jump ball, free throw, throw-in. During a restart, after the restart starts, there's special rules and restrictions in effect. After the restart ends, those no longer are in effect. Not a factor on this play, though, but we need to know when the restart starts and when it ends. When does a throw-in start? By rule, it starts when the ball is at the disposal of the thrower. What does that mean for an administered throw-in? In an AP situation like this, when the ball is handed to and the player holds, or the ball is bounced to and the player holds, our restart has begun, right? The official would have an account and the restart has begun. When does this throw-in restart end? It ends when it is legally touched in bounds. By rule, we can correct this situation until the throw-in ends. So in this instance, our answer becomes relatively obvious. Once the player contacts the throw-in pass, the throw-in has ended by rule and we can no longer correct. Oh, now we discover, right, at this point, everybody wants to fix it, right? I want to fix it. I want to make up for our mistake, okay? But NFHS says specifically, once the throw-in ends, our opportunity to correct has ended. So it's, again, a situation where the officiating crew has made a mistake. Embarrassing. We have to own it. We have to do things by rule, or at least we need to know what the rule is. So in this instance, we cannot fix that once we have made that mistake. Of course, the basics on that one. All right, how about another rules question? Let's go. B1 fouls A1 in the act of shooting a three-point try. While the ball is in the cylinder above the ring, A2 makes contact with the ball prior to the ball entering the basket. Which of the following is true? A2's action was a goaltending violation. It cancels the score and results in a designated spot throw-in by Team B. B. A2 has committed offensive basket interference and the score shall be canceled. A1 shall be awarded 3 free throws. C. If A2's contact with the ball was part of a dunk, score the basket and award A1 1 free throw. Or D. Play on, no violation has occurred, and force the penalty for the foul in the act of shooting by awarding A1 1 free throw. Man, that's a lot of words. That's too many words, right? B1 fouls A1 in the act of shooting a three-point try. Okay? The ball is approaching the goal. Teammate of the thrower contacts the ball prior to the ball entering the basket. Right? Let's say it's up near the goal, they tip it, it goes in the basket. Right? So what do we have on this play? Well, where'd you go? Right, our correct answer here is B. A2 has committed offensive basket interference and the score shall be canceled, or there is no goal. A1 shall be awarded 3 free throws. They were a three-point shooter. They were fouled during an attempt. Their goal was unsuccessful due to a teammate violating. So this would be an unusual situation, one that could happen in our game. We need to understand there is no goal for the three-point goal, but then we need to penalize the foul. Three free throws for our offended player, and we move on. Cool. Moving on. Another rules question. After the toss to start the game or the overtime period, two non-jumpers cause the ball to go out of bounds simultaneously. The proper procedure here is re-jump with two players involved at the nearest jump circle, re-jump with original jumpers at the center circle, re-jump with two players involved at the center jump circle, or re-jump with original jumpers at the nearest jump circle, right? Simple jump ball rules restriction question, right? Our answer here is now at some point back in the day, there used to be the use of all three circles, right? Both the center circle and the two circles at the free throw lane. This has not been the case for quite some time. This is the case at the NBA level. So if you are working this high school game with a partner who works in the NBA, congratulations. Or the WNBA or the G League, right? I guess it's possible. And they become confused. You got to set them straight. We're never going to use those circles for a jump ball situation. Always the center circle. In a situation where our original jumpers, one of them taps the ball, opponents violate by causing the ball to go out of bounds simultaneously, or those opponents engage in a held ball situation prior to team control being gained, those two players become the players involved in the re-jump. So in this situation, our correct ruling is C, re-jump with the two players involved, the two players who caused the ball to go out of bounds. Now, sometimes you can have really fun scenarios where the shortest player on team A and a really tall or big player on team B, right, are those two players, and we end up with a jump ball situation that's imbalanced. Let's move on now to another rules question. While bringing the ball up the floor under pressure in the backcourt, A2 releases the ball for a pass to A1 releases a pass. A1 releases the ball for a pass to A2 in the front court. The covering official's count is at 9 seconds when the ball is released, but before the count reaches 10, the ball bounces in the front court. After the count reaches 10, the bounce pass is caught by A2. Is this legal? A, this is not legal. The ball must be touched by any player in the front court before the count reaches 10. B, this is not legal. The ball must be controlled by a Team A player in the front court before the count reaches 10. C, this is legal. The ball must take on front court status before the count of 10. It did that when it touched the floor prior to being caught by A2. Or D, this is legal, as with the 5-second count for the throw-in. As long as the ball has been released before the count of 10, it is not a 10-second violation. Wow, a lot of words there. We have to understand the rule itself. What is the 10-second violation rule? A team in team control is responsible for the ball gaining front court status before the count of 10. The official's manual count of 10. That is the restriction. So this becomes a status question. When does the ball, by rule, gain front court status? It gains front court status when it touches the front court or is touched or touches a player with front court status. That's how ball status is gained. When the player is in the backcourt and releases the pass, the ball is in the air. It's in the air over the backcourt, let's say. Then it's in the air right above the division line. and then it's in the air over the front court, its status at all those points is it has backcourt status because it was last touched by a player with backcourt status. So until that ball is touched by either the court or another player, it maintains that status by rule, and the rule itself requires only that the ball gain front court status. So let's think of all the scenarios. One is they throw the ball, it bounces in the court. Has it gained front court status? Yes. Let's say they throw the ball, it's deflected by a teammate in the front court, and the ball is loose. Has the ball gained front court status? Yes. Let's say the ball is tipped by an opponent who has front court status, right? Opponent jumps from the front court and bats the ball while they're in the air above the backcourt. The ball has front court status by rule because that player had front court status by rule, and when the ball is contacted by a player, it's considered to have the same status as that player. Again, understanding status gives us great strength as basketball officials. Understanding what this rule is, it's really simple. 10 seconds to gain front court status. That's really simple, right? If the ball was in the air, it would be a violation. Even if it's in the air by their own basket, it's still a violation because until it's touched, that ball has backcourt status by rule. I'm going to move on and let's take a look at another rules question. The game ball supplied by the home team has a major sports brand logo, but no NFHS authenticating mark. The referee should issue a team technical foul on the home team prior to the start of the game and play with the illegal ball. That doesn't sound good. B, seek a legal game ball from the home team or the visiting team if the home team doesn't have one. C, use a boy's ball if it has the NFHS authenticating mark. Or D, use the ball and don't make a big deal out of it, but report the situation to the state association after the game. This is sort of a functional question, right? You're presented with this situation prior to the game. First of all, it brings up a couple of other questions as well. But bottom line, by rule, we must have the NFHS logo on the basketball. I had this exact situation in a scrimmage I did over the weekend. Team gives me the ball. Oh man, it felt great, right? But it was, he said, is this ball good? And, check. No logo, right? In the absence of the logo, we are not going to use that ball. Now let's think it through, right? So what are we going to do? That's the only ball that they have, let's say. The other team has a ball, multiple balls. Let's find one that's legal by rule. Great, perfect. But what if they don't have one? What if there's no legal ball? What are we going to do? Why are we at the gym? Why are the lights turned on? Why did everybody show up? To play the game, right? In the end, we're going to play this game with whatever ball we can find. That's going to be the bottom line. So the obvious questions are, what if there's no girls' ball and all they have is a boys' ball? What's going to happen next, right? If you present to the coaches, here's our situation. We do not have a legal ball by rule. We do have this ball. Do you want to play? You know what their answer is going to be, right? We're going to play the game. We're going to use that ball because that's the only ball that we have. So this brings up a number of practical questions. But in the end, if we go back, by rule, our correct answer is B, seek a legal game ball from the home team or the visiting team if the home team doesn't have one. Simple and straightforward, but we're going to find solutions in these situations. All right, let's take a look at another rules question. A1's try for goal is within the basket as A2, in an attempt to rebound the ball, unintentionally grabs the net. The officials rule, cancel the basket, goaltending. B, cancel the basket, administrative technical foul for grabbing the net. C, cancel the basket, basket interference. Or D, score the goal, ignore grabbing of the net, Play on. So some key elements of this. A1's try for goal is within the basket, right? What is the definition of the basket? That would help. The basket is the ring, the net, the flange. Those three elements constitute the basket in terms of touching the basket while the ball is on or in the basket. So understanding that if the ball was sitting on the ring, it is on or in. Or in this case, the ball is in the basket. That means it's has penetrated the ring area and is not yet passed through. A2, in an attempt to rebound the ball, unintentionally grabs the net. Unintentionally grabbing the net would eliminate the technical foul from the scenario. And our correct answer on this play is clearly C, cancel the basket. This is a basket interference violation by rule. It is illegal to contact the basket while the ball is on or in the basket. Understanding what the basket is by rule, ring, net, flange, is critical to understanding touching the basket. In this instance, but also understanding on or in the basket constitutes a basket interference violation by rule. All right, another question. Let's go. A player may not use arms, hands, hips, or shoulder to force his or her way through a screen or to hold the screener and then push aside a screener in order to A, maintain a guarding position, B, gain an advantage, C, steal the ball, or D, cause a turnover. That's oddly worded. All right. Our correct answer here is A. A player may not use their arms, hands, hips, or shoulder to force their way through a screen or to hold a screener and then push aside a screener. All of that is illegal activity when one is guarding by an opponent. That is a poorly worded question. Not my favorite. Hey, if this is the content that you find valuable, now would be a great time to do all the things. Hit the subscribe and notify bell so you don't miss out on any of our new content. Why that appeared there, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Let's take a look at another rules question. No. Let's take a look at another rules question. After a made basket by Team B, Team A is granted a timeout. On the ensuing throw-in, all 5 Team A players are lined up off the court but behind Team B's end line at the time when the official wants to administer the throw-in. The official shall refuse to administer the throw-in until the required 4 team members of the thrower have inbound status. B, this tactic merits a warning for delay of game violation. There's been any previous warning, a team technical would be applied. C, this is legal as long as the throw-in pass is released prior to the end of the official's 5-second count. Or D, this is permissible both for a designated spot throw-in as well as a throw-in after a made or awarded basket. Key component here, after a made basket by Team B. Team A requests a timeout. So we can expect this situation in end-of-game situations where a team is trying to gain, Yeah, we could expect that mostly this is going to occur in end of game situations when time is low and the team needs to go a length of the court. But in any situation, we have to understand this is a non-designated spot throw-in. During a non-designated spot throw-in, what are the restrictions on the players? What is the restriction on the thrower? The thrower is allowed to move along the end line. They must stay within the two sidelines. They are allowed to move along the end line. They are allowed to pass the ball to a teammate out of bounds, right? That is a legal action. There is no restriction on players being out of bounds, right? So multiple players can be out of bounds in that situation where they're throwing to a teammate out of bounds. Obviously, both those players are out of bounds. So during a non-designated spot throw-in, again, we can see a lot of things. We're looking for the illegal. Being out of bounds as a teammate of the thrower is not illegal in this situation. There's reference to a designated spot throw-in. Designated spot throw-in has much different restrictions. Much different. Only the thrower may be out of bounds. No teammate of the thrower may be out of bounds as well. So our answer here is obviously C. This is legal as long as the throw-in pass is released prior to the end of the official's 5-second count. And we see this play, it's often deemed a trick play that's executed at the end of games. We certainly need to be super aware at the end of games for possible plays like this, etc. And we obviously need to know the rules. And if we understand that it's a non-designated spot throw-in, understanding the rules and restrictions gives us what we need to adjudicate the play properly. And we've reached our final question. A1 fouls B1. Before the first free throw, A2 substitutes for A1. After the successful second free throw, the scorer sounds the horn and A1 checks in for A3. Hey, that's a technical foul on A1 for attempting an illegal substitution. B, A1 can only substitute for A2, who they replaced originally. The substitution is legal. Or D, A1 is not allowed to substitute. A1 will be allowed to enter the game at the next opportunity after the clock has properly run. And that's the restriction on this play. Substitute may re-enter the game after the clock has properly run, commonly known as sit a tick. The clock must run for that player to return legally. By rule, there is no penalty for attempting to re-enter here. There would be no technical foul. There's no restriction on who a player can substitute for. So that would not apply. This is not a legal substitution because that player must sit until the clock has properly started. Easy peasy. Hey, thanks for joining us today for Basketball Rules Expert. If you find this content to be valuable, great time to do all the things. Hit like, subscribe, and notify so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday. Join us for the live stream. Put your voice in the game. Come join us while we film the show. Allow me to thank our tremendous show supporters, Thomas Burnside, Jay Brown, Mark Harvey, Darwin Sanada, and Roger Mulley. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show, you can always buy us a coffee. There will be a link above and in the show notes below. Awesome. We have additional video content for you here. I've made this selection. YouTube made that selection. You make your selection. We'll see you in the very next video. Take care.